Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist.
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. It's nothing. Forget about it. Filter it out.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that boy is.
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Okay, okay. I respect a man with principles. No handouts, then. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun. When he said, "Don't worry," he actually meant, be very worried.
I know everything, Harry. Right now, I know that you're worried. Don't be worried. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you?
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? Before you, with great effort.
Welcome, Miss. I'd offer you.
He looks
You go ahead.
whatever. Forget about that. What's with this?
Please, Miss.
It's nothing. Yes,
Very well, Mr. Dubois. I, too. Should you find...
you're no Titan of Felician, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down or leave.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most
Oh, by the way, I heard it should be sufficient.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good, man.
Yes, I know.
With a grin, he points to the checker game.
Okay, now,
His slug. The world is when he said, "Don't worry," he actually meant, be very worried.
are you all right, Harry? You say you got this, but you seem a little anxious to me. Don't be. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't...
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep...
Officer, we will deal with this later. We...
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children are gonna shoot themselves with it.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying to pull here? You need to cool the fuck down. Chill.
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a glass of water or something? Are you having some kind of medical emergency?
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
Don't be dramatic. I can see your condition isn't terminal.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time. And I'm an extremely busy man, as I'm sure you are too.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask him questions. Police officer questions. Before you is, with great effort, he
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare. I'd offer you my hand, but
He looks extremely...
You go ahead.
Whatever he has in store, forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois. Let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. So tell me...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable...
Oh, by the way, it should be sufficient...
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Okay, now...
The world is... When he said, don't worry, he actually meant, be very worried.
Are you all right? It's not like you...
It was loaded.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Who does this guy think you are? Ronnie the Rookie? You ain't worried about no lost gun, or unpaid bill, or forgotten name. You're the bad cop. You're probably more corrupt than him. Fuck yes. You're part of the old guard, the ancient guard, the most corrupt, unholy cops in the land. Chill out like the black dragon you are. The fat man does the same, sinking deeper into his chair than one would think is physically possible. He seems to be enjoying your little display. Good. Now lean in with some corruption.
That we do, Harry. Let them say what they will about you and me. We're both born fighters. Why, thank you. It's always nice when a fellow professional appreciates your work.
That's it. Now kick back and add a final flourish for dignity.
You strike me as a reasonable man, Harry. I like that in a lawman. Let's cut to the chase, shall we? What can Everard Clare do for you?
I think we'd like to ask you a few questions. Don't you think so, Detective?
Somehow you managed to get yourself out of this one. Now quick, keep the momentum up. Ask questions. Whatever you do, don't ask him about the gun first. You don't want him thinking you're scared.
Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everard, I call you Harry. My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very low.
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion. I mean, see what his game is first.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
Words flow like a river of honey from his lips. I guess word has already reached him. No matter. No harm done. It's just a brown folder. You can't make out what's written on it.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity right now.
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first. As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you because it's not a real RCM folder. It's just another one of those brown folders you saw in the file cabinet.
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau people are absolutely corrupt. You should do something about them.
He got the name from the Census Bureau, and everything else from your actions here in Martinez.
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man. So is there anything else I can do for you, Harry?
That means he doesn't really know anything about you. A pity. The mystery of you will have to remain a mystery for the time being.
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to discuss it with you. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors. Oh, you're being too modest, my friend. But don't worry, this annoying thing I have is completely legal. I just need you to open a door.
An excellent opportunity presents itself, sire. You could win the trust of the arch-liar, pretend to play into his hand. Then, should you wish, bend his efforts towards your own.
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around all day.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist outside help. So what will it be, Harry? Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is watching, they start acting foolishly. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Fantastic, my friend. Just let me know when it's done and we can take our friendship to the next level. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. One last thing, Harry. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbor. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them. Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers with you.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it.
Harry, honestly, I'm just relieved you didn't get a hernia. A man your age... You did look like you were gonna collapse and die when I told you about your lost gun. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone, searching every playground, asking kids, grandmas, everyone. Your gun will be found, Harry. Let me assure you of that. It's just a matter of time and effort.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage.
Harry, I was only trying to be tactful. A lost gun is a dangerous thing. I can't have it around in my neighborhood. Kids could be playing gun roulette with it as we speak. Teenage gangs could be arming themselves. Get a hold of yourself, Harry.
I assure you, we are working on locating the missing sidearm as well.
Excellent, Mr. Kitsuragi. Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white Union man. Take care, Harry.
Well, hello. Someone seems to have found himself a bottle of alcohol. Oh, no, you don't. Not this one. That's not you. Light reflects off the green glass. Wow, the gods of fine. We're not worried.
You've passed up your...
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man is young, dark-skinned, and dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is smiling playfully at the camera.
Why did you take that? Fine, but let's move. I don't want...
The unpromising race pupil returns.
So, how'd you like our harbor?
You've been in there, he means. Talked to the boss man too, probably.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains. Right, you talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plain. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk. The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course. Your dead guy was an enemy combatant. He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
He's not lying about not doing it himself.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search. A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open? Oh, say no more. I got you. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say. Oh, so the none of the above type, are you? I get it, I get it. I like to keep my distance too. But it doesn't matter. It's a good thing you're doing. Thanks. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the whirling in rags. That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized. Means we keep out of each other's business.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. We talked about life and things that really, truly matter. None of this mess we're in. This jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess. I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are, what we are fighting for.
He means he's not going to tell you cause he doesn't know. But he will shoot his mouth off with you now that you're working for Everard.
We're negotiating our share. Aye. All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor workers to be on the company's board, so they could take part in the decision-making process.
This seditious talk sounds like communism. Just so we're on the same page, communism is basically wanting to kill the rich people or deporting them to a labor camp in southeast Grad. But don't say that out loud if you're a communist.
I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've made it. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer and a decent businessman. I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes deals with the owners or other relevant parties. What?
By that, you mean corruption?
By heavens, why would it not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see? And in this world, the old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. Appreciate it even. He is, personally, not too lavish. He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion. Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway. And moralism is the most corrupt of them all.
This man has political theory, and it has not failed him today.
No. I don't think I'm a communist. Seeing something of value and saying I want it all to myself is a much older and simpler notion. No science to it at all. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't. And none of the above kind of man. No harm in being that. Sure thing.
This was great. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone. A metallic drawer slides out from under the seat and clicks into place. The tools inside are neatly organized.
Take what you need, officer. It's going to be a long case. I'm not protective of my tools, like some men are.
The pry bar feels nice and cold in your hand, heavier than you'd think. Useful for opening all sorts of doors and lids. The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. Preheater gauge casts a warm glow on the steering levers and the radio. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in.
No, that's enough fun with the foldable headlight.
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message, written in the language of burnt rubber. Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling-in rags. This is point A. The driver started there and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry, according to the cafeteria manager. The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent building. Before heading south, must have been in a hurry.
You are correct. This is a rather motor carriage-friendly city. I'm not sure. There are plenty of traffic accidents waiting to happen in Martinez. With the jam right here on the roundabout, I would keep them separate.
You could follow the track south. There seems to be a canal there. See where they went, if you find the time. You see a heavy steel door.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. Oh, yes, that door. Sure. There's nothing mysterious. No, I don't. Awesome.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing. He looks at the dust.
Yes.
Whoa, what have we here? A bridge with loose nails and rot-infested wood that creaks in the wind. A construction code violation if there ever was one.
True, they never cleaned up the war damage. The rest of Revachol looks better, though. The bridge is fine enough. Locals use it all the time, after all. It's nothing to worry about. Shall we?
Up here, piggo.
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance to the apartment building. The door rattles against your knuckle. The door rattles again, but this time...
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting any more strangers inside. Doesn't matter who I am.
From within...
Ha! The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. I won't be responsible for any more strangers getting in. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door? There must be another entrance to the east.
Look at me when I'm talking. The streets will flow red once more. A great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. Ask away, pigman, but I don't promise to answer.
A brush? An artist? The red splatter is urban expressionism.
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
The lieutenant is desperately searching for a handkerchief. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish feature. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That Ozon whore. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago, 2 days' travel away from Rivershot.
Yes, we should go talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Watch your back.
This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air, and there's a knocker shaped like a lion's head. The leather upholstery is worn and rough against your jaw. You don't hear any movement. In fact, it's oddly silent in the yard around you. No birds chirp. You try to be as silent as you can. It takes a bit of rattling of the handle to loosen the bolt. Finally, the door unlocks with a small clack. Thoughts race through your head. There might be important information in the apartment. I mean, there might. This is the flag of Revachol, the suzerainty. This isn't just one sun, but there are little suns dancing around the big sun. This is the sevenfold sun miracle. It's an optical atmospheric anomaly the first settlers saw. Happens in cold weather. 6 small suns around the big one. This complex halo phenomena is how old Revachol got its flag.
The tenant is an old-fashioned guy.
By old-fashioned, he means very right-wing. The flag doesn't seem to mind. It's just a colorful fabric with a sun sewn onto it, like all feudal flags. A row of mugs sits on the shelf. Each one depicts a human figure. A dark-skinned woman grinning amidst mysterious symbols. A broad-shouldered man shoveling potatoes, and others. A little ring. Though cheerful, the images on the ceramic make you vaguely uncomfortable. There's something disdainful in the way the curves and lines of the bodies were drawn. It looks like the artist is celebrating diversity, but underneath, he's just making fun of these people. No one's telling you to like him. You might learn something from him, though. The lieutenant picks up one of the mugs, then puts it back down with a look of disdain.
I'm beginning to feel better about breaking into this man's apartment.
Yes, your broken mug friend would feel very much at home here. The same humor, the same mocking lines.
There's the missing tin soldier. Whoever lives here might have used the Whirling's container to dump his trash. And now they've drawn the ire of the Union. The plot thickens, as they say.
An interesting little clue. Let's see where this goes. Clues have a way of magically connecting to other clues down the road. Perhaps you should break into apartments more often.
Who knows? I'm not expecting too much from this clothes in the trash lead either way. It might turn out to be some random local matter, but still, a nice coincidence.
You could ask Everard who this person is once you're done here.
Hey, what's that noise down there?
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except for the big Fritta slogan on the back. The packages are small, discreet, sloppily stacked, making them easier to take unnoticed. No.
What is what? It's a raincoat. If you want to buy one, then it's only 4 real.
Her attention is drawn to the raincoats. Stealing one undetected will now be more difficult.
Welcome to Frit. Feel free to look around or something. Everything.
What's that magazine she's reading?
I don't know. Frit? A 7 to 11 grocery store. I think they think that the extra tea makes it funkier. It does.
The story goes that normal Fritta with 2 T's, a men's workwear shop in Vredefort, was already taken. So when Fritta Retail Inc. grew into a multinational corporation, they had to add an extra letter to avoid trademark infringement.
You mean this? This is Pop Stars. It's got, like, famous people in it. It's not for sale.
Looks like it also has something called Police de la Mode, featured on page 34. This speaks to you.
It's where they rate different outfits famous people wear. It's kind of funny. They're kind of mean. It's about who's the most stylish. Benita. She's a model. Usually it's a model. Or a singer-songwriter. Or a model.
We are not the fashion police. We're the real police.
Okay. I'm not really supposed to be chatting to anyone, but... A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care what Frit does.
She looks up from under her brow.
Fine. Frit doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay? I don't really know anything. I mean, I know it's there, but I haven't seen it, so... Not really. No. I didn't know him at all. I don't know, really... long? I don't know.
No need to worry. It's just standard procedure for us to ask around. If you hear anything, let us know, okay?
Okay. Uh-huh.
Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair. I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
He's trying to figure out if you're lying.
Just as I thought. Culturally antiquated mug collection. What a weasel. Pissing on Everart's Rainbow Coalition.
He was testing you, and you succeeded.
Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good. Racist mugs in the trash and in the apartment? You guys are just light years ahead of me. I have so much confidence in the ability of your organization. I'm relieved you're doing this and leaving me to do what I do best. Helping people. With the power of politics.
Yes, yes. Do you think this weasel is somehow connected to the murder?
Oh, no. I don't cross paths like that. All I want is for you to succeed in your investigation. I would never complicate things for you.
Oddly, it seems to be true.
Believe me, Harry, he's a nobody. Just your basement variety nobody. Can't imagine him being connected to a high-caliber case like this. But he does live nearby. Maybe it's a pedantic weasel. Fascists are known to be neat freaks. I feel like a real detective right now, Harry. Am I getting this right?
Would he? I'm not so sure about it.
Oh, you're too kind, Harry. Way too kind. I know I'm not a real police officer. You are. By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps. Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire?
He performs a motion as if spraying bullets from a machine gun.
I'm talking beasts. Hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramaritsa. You name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant. No, Harry, the elephant is metaphorical and so is the village, but the mercs and their brutality are very real. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container. Yes, I'm an old man, Harry. My legs aren't what they used to be. They lift my office with that big crane. It's actually very fun. You should try it. But enough about me and my fun container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them, all hardened commando types. One of them got downright suicidal, getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy, the one who likes hanging out and trees.
What makes you think the Wild Pines negotiator can't control them?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill. Potentially, Harry, potentially. We got arm wrestling champions, rowing club people, ex-coal miners, tough guys, all ready to spring into action for their home base. There's a militant wing inside the Union, a group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly.
That sounds a bit like organized crime.
They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
Again, that sounds like organized crime.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
Aren't you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinez boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them.
He places a lot of faith in that lawyer girl. Perhaps this is a tactical error? Anyway.
How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry. These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
So you believe the scabs were organized by the security contractor?
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes.
That does sound quite unlikely, yes. The big guy leading the scabs at the gate is colossal.
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal.
Wait, the girl by the whirling, who was keeping an eye on you. Is he talking about her?
Oh, and she also really likes gardening, I hear. In March? Strange. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, they are simply fine young men, all 7 of them. Exemplary union members, always working to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinez and Revachol in mind. Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets. You know what, Harry? I got a feeling they're gonna show up in full force tomorrow.
The lieutenant marks something in his notebook.
But of course, it's the least I can do for my good friend Harry. I'll do it right after we've concluded this talk.
When you meet this Titus, tell him about this. See what he has to say.
Also, Harry, here's 5 real. I'm not giving you anything. I'm just holding out 5 real. Oh, I wasn't offering it to you, just holding it out there. But I'm willing to share information. Was there anything else? Was it a good talk? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinez. And of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you. Yet. Yes, Harry. It's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
A man of the left? So you have to be a social democrat?
What does your heart tell you about your lost gun, Harry? Does it tell you to forget about it? Or do you think it wants to be found? I think it's lonely and cold. I think it wants to be found, and I have a proposal for you.
And what would this entail?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm gonna hand you the keys to Martinez, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing.
He's saying as little as possible, as vaguely as he can, deliberately omitting things.
I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth center in Martinez. It will be righteous. We're gonna get those teenagers off drugs and on roller skates. There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry. On the coast, Harry, across the canal. There's a cul-de-sac there, a little village they're calling it. A gloomy place. You'll find it. I trust your detective skills, Harry. They are just gonna have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre, designed by the best architects from Stella Marie.
Is he absolutely sure the tenants won't be thrown out in the street?
Am I? Harry, these people, Martinez is the most important thing in my life. I would never let anything bad happen to them. We're gonna build a youth center there. The value of their properties goes up and kids have a place to play in. I'm looking out for these people, not pulling the rug from under them, Harry. I'm looking out for all of Martinez, not just the harbor. You bring joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. Here. You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the water lock, but they should fix it by Wednesday morning. Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then we can talk about your gun. Most certainly, Harry. Nothing brightens my day like... By all means, Harry. What's on your mind? See you soon,
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinez. The air suddenly feels calmer, more transparent in a strangely tender way. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin. But it's time to become a citizen of the kingdom of conscience. It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times. Incrementally, history's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. Tisk tisk. Just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the kingdom of conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren. What rationality? What sang-froid? What you want is immaterial. The kingdom of conscience is coming, whether you like it or not. Only very slowly.
Hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. It's like no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's...
Before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened, no reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. Doesn't sound like there's anything inside the container. This is the night.
The unpromising raised pupil returns. There is nothing fun. I cannot possibly imagine.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? Yeah, the janitor who gave me the key to his apartment said the guy's a bit of an asshole. Like I said before, I don't know much about this weasel, but we're negotiating our share. Aye. This stuff, they already covered. Never grateful. Were we ever grateful?
The man with...
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you! When a bunch of beats me, they mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we have the right to work!
There's something odd in the way he carries himself. Fine. It was probably nothing. A Stars Ryko, one of the finest Zhimsk-made motor carriages ever. An oldie, but a goldie. Not many people outside of Grad.
A Stas Ryko KK2. That's a classic model. Never thought I'd see another one repainted after what happened last time.
No, only that the motor carriage is typically baby blue. The colors of Sigismund the Great, an ancient Zhimsk ruler. His banners were famously zephyr and white, the colors of the Stars Ryko.
An old case for my precinct. A couple of Zhimsk migrants saw a Stas Ryko stopped in the street, painted just like this, muddy brown. Murdered the driver on the spot. They said it was an honor killing, Hussar style. The Zhimsk community protested the trial, flying the banners of some old king or whatever. 5,000 came to protest.
Correction, 4,395. The fourth largest public protest of a criminal trial in Revachol.
Is that so, officer? I'll take you at your word. Could it be another Stas Ryko murder? You really should ask me to brief you on the case. But right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and guess the two aren't related.
An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, "I am Philip III, the Squanderer. the greatest of the Philippian kings of Revachol, son of Philip II, the opulent, father of Philip IV, the insane. As you look up, you notice something about the statue. There are some odd indentations on the king's chest piece. Even by the standards of the Philippian kings, old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy. Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate century's greatest superpowers, the suzerain of Revachol. His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy. During the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy. On the insect, Philip III's ludicrous bronze likeness you take the legal documents out of the envelope, a 12 to 40 month construction period, and the zoning plan in the addendum. There is no loophole. The simple truth is the current residents are going to lose their street access, and for the next 12 to 40 months, their lives will be dominated by constant construction noise right next door.
I should have seen it. Evrard probably has eyes on us, but we could try to get other people to sign this instead of those listed. Or you could forge their signatures yourself. By the time he finds out, we'll already be gone. However, we'll need access to the coast before we do anything. Evrard won't believe you got villager signatures if you can't even get to the village. You can try a forgery as soon as we can cross the waterlock.
The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently, it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall. It's going to be awfully close to the already existing buildings, almost wall to wall, practically integrating them into the youth center. This is either an ominous or cool architectural choice. Hard to say. My money is on cool. Looks like a cubic pyrite.
Revachol.
Don't you welcome to Revachol me. My grandfather came here from a 3,000-year-old racist isolationist culture, while your ancestors came to this island a mere 300 years ago. Every school of thought and government has failed in the city, but I love it nonetheless. It belongs to me. It's men like you who keep Revachol divided, making it that much harder for everyone to climb out of this post-war limbo.
What he means is, fixation on the Revacholian nation makes it harder for Revachol to actually attain self-determination.
Oh, come on, man. I just said welcome to...
I know exactly what you meant. You think my kind doesn't belong here, that I should watch myself and be... But you see, I'm an officer of the RCM. It's actually my job to make sure you behave. I would advise you to remember that.
Silence. The air between them becomes tense. Your partner needs backup. Now's your moment to shine.
You two make a cute couple. You know that?
The lieutenant exhales and resumes his regular calmness.
Whatever you say, officers.
He smells of heavy motor oils, and his breath of high tar content cigarettes.
Oh man, that's great. Look at that guy go. Haven't seen anything that funny in a while. God damn. Thanks for that, but no, it's not mine.
He doesn't live in Martinez.
It's about biological determinism, natural law, the sorting of the races. Not the most popular topic nowadays, with the coalition in charge and all. You might want to change the topic. Suit yourself, officer. Hide your face in the sand. Oh, not much anymore. I'm here to pick up some cargo, but the dock workers are on strike, so it's a sit and wait on your ass situation. The strike? Oh, they've been at it for a while. A month, 2 months maybe. But this here is just the last week or so. Apples.
Apples is exactly the kind of thing you'd say if you had something to hide.
Look, as detective, I come from a long line of lorrymen. We got ancient rights and privileges. Oh, I'm here to pick up a load of fucking apples, man. Just regular Koiko picked apples.
Koiko may be another derogative for a person from Grad, you think?
Yep, it's one of their main exports. They grow them down South Yekokata. A beautiful place. Got great scenic vistas.
In fact, Yekokata is a desolate wasteland whose name literally translates to Zone of Ecological Catastrophe. It features no scenic vistas and supports virtually no plant or animal life.
Yeah? Says who? Then, I guess they grow apples somewhere else. You can never really tell with those koikos. They're everywhere, except their own homes.
He means the people living in Grad.
Yeah, you know, Gradniks, Gradvolk, those degenerates from Grad. 'Cause that's what they're all called. Koiko Pichik, Loslav Koiko, Koikovich someone. Low self-esteem, those guys have. Mind you, they look Occidental, but they're not really like us. Hey, if the name and description fit by the very grace of nature, who did you miss the part where I said they aren't here yet? Besides, even if I did have some, I wouldn't go putting my nose in them, huh?
Relax. You've got all you can get here. He probably doesn't even know what he's hauling.
I can't believe it's snowing again. It felt like springtime just a few days ago. Since the street signs messed up, some shops and a bridge. The canal bridge leads to the coast, but it's broken, I think. Just coast. There's a lit. What do you mean? Yes, sir. This.
He knows where we are. He just wants directions.
No problem.
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The belt is still around his neck. His body is supine and open to intrusion. By autopsy, the lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Muindi, is the world's highest summit, and the failure of the 38 single, Et puis descend, to crack the top 20 was the death knell of disco. But what a field autopsy is, you have no idea. You must have me confused with the Copperpedia. You, sir, you are the Copperpedia.
Unfortunately, no. They are better than nothing. Tell you what, I perform the anatomical side of things while you will take notes. That's right.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with,
That's you.
the corpse is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The
KK57-0803.0815.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date 0803 and time of arrival 0815. He's indexed the case after himself, not you. That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
Next, NA. Next, NA. Roughly 50.
Dry 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side. He nods.
Mondial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Muindi. This is as vague as it gets. You might as well say whitish. The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going with March 4th, 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
None, at least not after the initial examination. Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem. They'd have to have incapacitated and carried him over. This man was more than a match for untrained dockwalkers.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then,
we should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The rest of the clothes have been removed post-mortem by scavengers in order to get to the victim's ceramic armor. Officers are in search of the missing pieces. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. The number is purposefully concealed by the design. Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age 42. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
His hair feels wet, soaked with rain, cold to touch. Not that different from a living person after a swim.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark. It's no use. We should get chain cutters. You can try with them. I have a pair in the toolbox of my Kine. Damn corpse. We had a good rhythm going.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a metallic drawer slides. The handles are long. You can do good work with these. It's robust, lets you see the pull-out toolbox, slides back. rotting man, the lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Cut with as much precision as you can, please.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there, steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere there. Already they're buried deep in the man's flesh. Then you rotate them to get a better hold. Then...
Yeah, fuck him! Fuck that!
Told you my pig was hardcore.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
He sinks the cutters into the knot, preparing to perform the cuts. With his elbow to his knee, snap, the knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
Here. The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck, on the nape. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
No! It's gonna happen, see!
I fucking knew it!
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury. Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars. Last item, hands.
The hand is surprisingly heavy to lift, filled with decay liquids. Feels as though it could explode if squeezed harder. You're suddenly repulsed, so much so you feel compelled to drop it.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of his story.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer. Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury-related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his.
Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
Hepato means liver, and biliary, the gallbladder and bile ducts. Nothing in your alcohol-soaked memory directs to having forensic expertise on either one.
Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there?
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
No. Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
Oh, so we inflicted them? Okay, so there's an incision on the thorax from a chain cutter. I wouldn't mention it. Better not to muddy the waters. Be pedantic if you like, it doesn't matter. No one else is going to investigate this man's murder. And if they do, such details would only confuse them.
See? These pigs are fucking corrupt.
Why don't you fuck him if you love him so much?
Now, injuries. Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Right. Next. Nothing. Just in case.
The corpse lay slouched to the side, oblivious to its...
All right. Bite marks, contusions on head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. Think for a moment. There's time. Don't rush.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned, but it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks, if we are lucky. I will not hold my breath. We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy. I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse. I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something.
I thought we decided to leave it to processing. Let's not...
Damn it. This is turning into some sort of Okay, so you can sneak out of your room maybe, after he's gone asleep.
I'm gone. Into the wild pale yonder, in the past, way out in the west. I'm a joke. Look at me. A killer, a motherfucker, and a killer. Go ahead, Coppo. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination. Go ahead. Ask me more questions. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Your lost Coppo-Dopo would have been so Do I remind you of...
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
You sure wriggled out of that one. Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and shoot, loony. Come back later.
Okay. I need a little help for carrying him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can take care of the rest.
There go those beautiful enamel boots. You will never own the full set now. May they rest in processing. Oh well, in another lifetime.
It's too late to take him into processing today. I'll take him first thing tomorrow.